We'll review when we return. Jessica Blaylock joins us next. Jess?
Hey, Rich, it's hard to believe, but we are only 1 week away from the All-Star Game, and because of that, we wanted to help get you ready with our Twitter and email Tuesday. So we've got a special hashtag for you, ASG2015. We want you to use that on all of your tweets and emails. Be sure to send those tweets to @FoxMarlins. Your emails can go to foxmarlins@gmail.com. Have you been to an All-Star Game? Do you have a great picture or story? Send that in. Do you want to wish D. Gordon good luck? Tell Giancarlo congratulations. Go for it, but be sure to use that hashtag ASG2015. And speaking of D. Gordon and Giancarlo Stanton, they will represent this team for the All-Star Game. Many of their teammates said that they are well deserving of that honor.
Tremendously deserving. D's phenomenal defensively. Obviously, we all know what he can do with the bat, getting on base, taking bags. But defensively, he's been incredible and made a ton of great plays this year. Him and Hetch up the middle, in my opinion, are the two best. And having G out in right field, I don't think anyone really understands how good defensively he really is. He tracked down some balls. He's got a cannon. And he puts the ball right on the bag every time he throws.
I mean, it's unbelievable what both of them have done this season. So their numbers speak for themselves, and they're both great teammates and awesome dudes. So nobody here can be anything but happy for those guys to get to do that and go out and represent the Marlins. And it's sad that Giancarlo's not going to be able to make it, but it's good for him that he officially made the team. So it's good for both of them.
It's one of the things where the fans got it right. It's not really a popularity contest when you're down in Miami. So, they got it right. They're both deserving. D, is the best second baseman in the game right now, and G's the same thing as right field. And, for us to be able to see them go out and represent the Marlins and us as teammates and play on that big stage will be fun.
To have two guys on the team who, our team has been struggling. So for the fans to go out there and vote for them and them to get the starting nods, obviously showing what they've been doing all year. And for me, D's been playing phenomenal defense, getting on base, scoring runs, and Giancarlo has a chance to change a game any time he gets up there. So it's exciting, and they deserve for everybody else to see what they're capable of doing.
It's unfortunate that Giancarlo can't play, but it's going to be so much fun to see D. Gordon in action. When we do return, it's first pitch between the Red Sox and the Marlins. The first trip to Fenway for young guys like Christian Yelich, but Dan Herron, a veteran, on the mound.
Let's go places by Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealer. Visit us at FloridaCoastEQ.com. And by AutoNation, visit us online at AutoNation.com. Built in 1912, it is the oldest in all of Major League Baseball. Fenway Park renovated in 2011. Marlins were last here in 2012. Marlins lineup looks this way. It's brought to you by J.M. Lexus. D. Gordon, Christian Yelich, Adeiny Echeverria on a nice run right now. Michael Morse in left and in cleanup. Marlins desperately need his bat to come to life. Justin Bour gets the start against the lefty. He's the DH. Jeff Baker against the lefty is in there at first. JT Realmuto will do the catching. Cole Gillespie is in right field. And, of course, it's an American League game. Miguel Rojas in the 9 spot. D. Gordon in the box. First pitch, lashes it to center. Mookie Betts is out there, and he makes the catch. Pitch a penny bringing you that first pitch. D. Gordon hit it hard. 1 pitch, 1 out for Wade Miley.
Well, Wade Miley is a guy the Marlins have seen. He spent a good part of his Major League career with the Diamondbacks. First year as a Boston Red Sox pitcher. Good numbers against the Fish, an .099 career ERA in 4 starts.
Christian Yelich in the 2 spot with Echeverria due up behind him. Yelich on a nice run himself, an 8-game hit streak. He is Miami's hottest hitter. 13 hits in that span, and equally impressive, his on base is over 600 in those 8 games. And he sends one out to Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts has probably moved a total of 20 feet. He's caught 2 balls out there. Both have been well hit.
Well, 2 lefties against the left-hander have hit the ball well. Defense brought to you by BMW. There's Hanley Ramirez in left. Mookie Betts, you've already been introduced to him. Shane Victorino, the right fielder. Pablo Sandoval, Xander Bogaerts, Brock Holt, and Travis Shaw around the infield, and Ryan Hannigan, veteran, behind the plate.
Adeiny Echeverria fouls a pitch back and out of play. Echeverria coming off a weekend in Chicago. He had a hit on Sunday, and hits were hard to come by for the Marlins in that game. Miley buries that. The Marlins lost on Sunday 2-0 to the Cubs and had just 5 total hits against Kyle Hendricks and the rest of that Cubs bullpen. Echeverria yanks one into the corner, hit hard and into the corner. Hanley Ramirez ventures in. Echeverria, obviously in Boston, that's not a guaranteed double. It all depends on how it comes out of the corner and who goes into the corner. And for Echeverria, it's a double.
Who just continues to have solid swings. As a hitter, you have to be ready. Miley doesn't waste too much time. He's a fast worker. Hanley plays this one pretty well. He's had some troubles in left field this year, but a double all the way for Echeverria.
Michael Morse now with Echeverria at second and 2 outs. And to return to the starting lineup, it's a nice place to have him in Fenway against a lefty. You see Morse's numbers, a real struggle for him before going on the disabled list. Miley misses in. Morse went on the DL with a sprained finger and then tweaked his back when he was almost done with his rehab assignment. Ball and a strike. Crowd still arriving here in Boston. Miley part of a rotation that has underperformed. And I think if you ask the Boston faithful, they would tell you that maybe in stronger terms. Probably in a little stronger accent. Marlins will see Wade Miley and Rick Porcello in this brief 2-game affair.
Porcello, one of those who has underperformed.
His ERA over 6. Miley's is at 4.5. The one thing Miley's been able to do, though, Tommy, is he's been able to get it done in a really tough pitching environment in Arizona. As a Diamondback, his ERA was under 3.8.
Tell you, he's gotten it done his last 4 starts here at Fenway. Last 4 starts at home, he's 4-0 with a 2.20 ERA.
Echeverria at second. And a strike to Morse. Full count now.
Let's see what the scouting report has on Miley. Good mound presence. He really possesses that. Late cut with that fastball. His breaking ball kind of a slurvy slider, and he works quickly.
Morse fouls it back to the screen. A Danny Echeverria 2-out double. All 3 balls have been hit hard. Gordon and Yelich both lining out to Betts in center, and Echeverria a liner into the corner and left for a double. Morse, a ground ball off the glove of Miley, scooped up by Bogarts, and he throws out Morse. And Miami's done in the first in Fenway. Underway, Red Sox and Marlins. will come to the plate in this orderly fashion. It's brought to you by J.M. Lexus. Mookie Betts in the leadoff spot. Brock Holt is an all-star. He's at second base. Xander Bogaerts at short. David Ortiz in the cleanup spot. Hanley Ramirez in left and hitting fifth. Pablo Sandoval at third. Shane Victorino's in right. Travis Shaw is at first. And Ryan Hannigan will do the catching and hit ninth. And Dan Herron takes aim at Mookie Betts.
It's a lineup that'll be a challenge for Dan Herron because a number of their hitters have gotten hot all of a sudden. No stranger, 6 career starts here at Fenway Park. One of the few Marlins that has had a little experience in this ballpark.
Marlins were last here in 2012. And of course, Herron in the American League with the Angels. And he misses away to Betts. Mookie Betts is a fun player to watch. He's just 22. A 5th round pick back in 2011 out of Brentwood, Tennessee. And he's made a great impression here in Boston this year. Last year, he was up for 52 games. And his numbers were very nice last year as well. A 291 average, was on base at a 368 clip. Betts to right, hit pretty well. Gillespie is there, and he makes the catch. It's one of the deeper parts of the ballpark out there in right field.
Not an easy outfield, all kinds of angles. So the defense, brought to you by BMW, has Michael Morse in left. Christian Yelich moves over to center. Gillespie, the right fielder. Around the infield, Miguel Rojas, Echeverria, D. Gordon, and Jeff Baker. And JT Realmuto behind the plate. Here we are in an American League city. There's the DH, Justin Bour.
That's funny how he pops up in that corner. And there's left field. We talked how deep right is. Michael Morse got the monster right behind him. Brock Holt takes a strike.
Yeah, down the right field line. In left field, yeah, you have the monster. Right field line, you have that corner. Very tricky.
Herron bounces one up. And, of course, you can't come to Boston without mentioning the pesky pole as it wraps around and sits right there. Johnny Pesky, slight infielder for the Red Sox, who hit all of 6 home runs here at Fenway, but somehow had the right field foul pole named in his honor. It was almost in a sarcasm because he wasn't a home run hitter, and he did hit 6 of them, and most of them ended up wrapped around that pole.
He was the answer to one of our questions we had the other day, the last player to have a 200-hit season without hitting a home run.
Brock Holt dances out of the way. Brock Holt is an all-star. And this 27-year-old out of Rice University has had a really solid year. Very, very versatile. Maybe the most versatile in baseball. Off of Baker, Gordon to Herron, safe at first.
Ball was hit hard by Holt. Skips off Jeff Baker, who will be charged with an error. Good effort by D. Gordon, but Dan Herron just couldn't get there in time. Brock Holt runs pretty well. That's the first error the Marlins have made in the last 5 games. They've continued to stay true and steady with their defense.
Xander Bogaerts now. Now, he could be an all-star. Bogaerts is one of the final vote candidates in the American League, along with the Royals' Mike Moustakas, the Tigers' Yoenis Cespedes, Brett Gardner of the Yankees, and the Twins' Brian Dozier. And that's our theme tonight on our email Twitter Tuesday. All-Stars, the All-Star Game. What do you think of the rosters? Who are the biggest snubs? Anything you'd like to see changed about the All-Star Game? And, of course, the All-Star Game is coming to Miami in 2 seasons, 2017. Bogaerts, talented middle infielder. One of the many talented infielders that have come out of the Dutch Antilles. Aruba.
I think it's really interesting, both final votes in the National League and American League A lot of times you'll see one candidate who really stands out. It's very interesting this year. You don't really have an overwhelming winner. Certainly Bogaerts has a chance. I think the same is true in the National League. Troy Tulowitzki, Johnny Cueto, Clayton Kershaw, Carlos Martinez, and Juris Familia.
Herron misses away, and it's 2-2. The American League candidates: Bogaerts, Cespedes, Dozier, Gardner, and Mike Moustakas. The Royals, after all the hullabaloo, ended up getting 4 starters on that 9-man American League team.
I think a lot of people surprised Dozier with 16 home runs, 40 RBIs for the Twins. Here's the National League group we were talking about. Kershaw not having a typical Kershaw year, but still up there in strikeouts. Cueto solid. Carlos Martinez with the Cardinals. Familia, all the saves that he's put together, and Troy Tulowitzki.
Bogaerts knocks that one foul. Bogaerts certainly deserving, and the Red Sox probably falling into the same category as the Marlins. It's a ball club that's underperformed, been under 500, disappointed. And when that happens, you don't necessarily get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to all-star selections. And of course, John Farrell was in that seat last year. That's at the knees, and a strike 3 called as Dan Herron strikes out Xander Bogaerts.
I have to give the voters credit, just given the fact the Marlins have had such a struggling season. There's a perfect pitch to get that strikeout. Even though a struggling season and not as large a fan base as many other clubs, the Marlins got 2 starters in D. Gordon and Giancarlo Stanton.
Tom Kohler saying the same in our little feature right before first pitch. Well, you can't come to Fenway without seeing the Green Monster or Big Poppy.
You're not used to seeing a 228 average, though.
And Ortiz takes in 14 homers, 41 driven in. And while the Red Sox biggest names, Ortiz, Hanley, Pablo, are all lined up 4, 5, 6. Before them are the 3 probably young core players that the Red Sox are trying to build around: Betts, Holt, and Bogaerts.
This is a guy Dan Herron's going to have to be careful with. They do have a little history. 8 for 23 is Big Poppy with 3 home runs against Herron. I've made my decisions, Rich. If I were voting, I would vote for Brian Dozier in the American League and Juris Familia in the National League.
Tommy, I got news for you. You can vote. So, as the final vote, I will do just like you. Tomorrow morning, I'll get online and I'll follow your lead. Hanley Ramirez with a new hairstyle, a new ball club, 18 homers, and he's driven in 43. Hanley is big, I mean thick and strong, and he's kind of morphing into Manny Ramirez the more that his career draws along. Now he finds himself in left field. He always looked like a strong safety. Now he's starting to look like an outside linebacker.
Well, we all know how he can get when he gets hot. He's on one of his hot streaks right now.
2-run homer was a game winner against Houston on Sunday. And Herron throws a strike. Hanley didn't like it. Mike Everett is the home plate umpire, and it was a bit low. Herron misses away. Dan Herron has been wonderful this year as a starter for the Marlins. He certainly deserves a better record than 6-5 with a 3.45. At times his bullpen has let him down. At times just the circumstances of the game, the lack of offense has let him down. He easily could have 8 or 9 wins. Hanley pops at first base side. Baker for a look, and it's into the seats.
And by the way, you know that Dan Herron, as I mentioned, will be careful with David Ortiz. A rare walk. Dan Herron, lifetime 1.85 walks per 9 innings. That's the lowest ratio amongst active pitchers. So he doesn't walk too many.
But you saw the ball strike ratio tonight. It's not the best. And he's 25 pitches into this first inning. 1-2 on Hanley Ramirez. Holt at second, Ortiz at first. Foul tip. Real Muto held it, and Hanley is struck out. And Dan Herron gets through the first. Scoreless. Into the emails and the tweets when we return. Sox. Wade Miley gets Justin Bour, Jeff Baker, JT Realmuto in the second. Marlins hit the ball hard in that first inning 3 times. And Bour takes away. This is not a bad lefty for Bour to get a start against.
Yeah, it's a challenge. He just hasn't seen a lot of left-handers. 2 for 13, so only 13 at bats against left-handed pitching this year. Justin Bour, one of the many, stepping inside Fenway Park for the first time.
You see his season numbers. Bour, of course, in Chicago on Friday, completed a run of 4 consecutive games with home runs. The last 3 of those 4 were game winners. That one fouled back. Not necessarily walk-offs, although one of them was, but home runs that decided the game late in the game. Miley's given up 8 home runs this year, 17th start for him. And Bour smacks it back.
A couple of good swings on pitches that he's fouled back, a couple of fastballs from Miley. This is a DH Big Poppy can appreciate. Justin Bour.
Bour bounces it over the middle. Holt backhands and throws on the run to get the out. So 1 out. Extraordinary moments happen every night in baseball. But on one night, They all happen in one place. Don't miss the 86 All-Star Game. Coverage begins 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, Tuesday, July 14th on Fox. Everybody's headed to the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. All right, here's Jeff Baker, and here's our first email of the night. It's from Joe. Tommy Hutton, did you ever play at Fenway Park?
Believe it or not, in exhibition games. The half year I was with Toronto, I did not get here. The year of the strike in 1981, still with the Montreal Expos at the time, after a brief spring training, had about a week to get ready to start the second half of the season. The Expos had their spring training West Palm Beach and then came here to play a couple of exhibition games against the Red Sox. So that was the only time.
Baker takes a called third strike.
Got one from Jasmine, a tweet. What other Marlins players do you think should be a part of the All-Star game?
I've got yeah, Alan sent the same thing. What are your thoughts on A.J. Ramos being snubbed from the game?
There was a great article, I know you read it, by Buster Olney.
Buster Olney. Also CBSSports.com had Ramos on the top 10 snubs of the All-Star game.
Olney was good. He didn't want to use the word snub. He used the word omitted. Just an omission, and he had his top 5, and A.J. Ramos was one of his top 5.
And just remember that as the week grows closer to the All-Star game, there will be players like Ramos who are added to the team when A, pitchers who start on Sunday can't pitch, or B, there are players, and in Ramos's case it needs to be a pitcher, who gets hurt or cannot attend the game. Counts 1 and 2 to JT Realmuto. Meanwhile, Ramos just keeps throwing zeros up there now that he has been in that closer's role. Boy, right now Wade Miley completely different than the first inning. Strikes out Baker and Realmuto. Well, he had all of one inning, and now he's got a first baseman's glove on. Morris is at first. That's because Jeff Baker has been lifted from the ball game. Ichiro now gets to play in front of the monster, and Ichiro is over in left field. Now, between innings, Dan Jennings came out, spoke with Mike Everett, the home plate umpire. We will try to get an update on Jeff Baker.
Well, you would have to surmise, since Baker struck out looking, that it happened on that play, that sharply hit ball he was charged with an error on. possibly something there, but we'll wait and see.
So Dan Herron goes to work. Pablo Sandoval sends a piece of bat one way and the baseball the other way. And he's left with half a bat, so to speak.
You get it close, and the Panda will swing.
If you threw the rosin bag up there and it was close, he probably would swing.
Off the end of the bat, he's got to get some new lumber.
Well, in the offseason, the Red Sox kind of reeling from last year's disappointment. They won just 71 games last year. Opened up the checkbooks, went after Hanley Ramirez, went after Pablo Sandoval.
It's a big checkbook, too.
Yeah, Sandoval 5 years, $95 million. Hanley Ramirez 4 years, $88 million. Pablo, of course, known as a lovable guy in San Francisco and a great postseason hitter. 39 games of the postseason, 344, 389, 545 slash line, 13 doubles and 6 home runs.
He was at World Series MVP 2012.
Dan Herron with the count 2-2. That one fouled back. In fact, the front of the Red Sox media guide has a trio of Sandoval, Big Papi, and Hanley Ramirez, arm in arm, all smiles. And so the Red Sox are banking that trio can help lift this team over 500 and into contention.
Well, at that time, Red Sox fans were all smiles. And then the season began. And all of a sudden, the Red Sox come into play tonight, 39-45 in last place in that American League East, 6 games out.
Sandoval always has fun at bats like this, where he hits pitches you don't think he could hit, fouls them off in the weirdest of angles, and then he'll smoke one that's right around his ankles and hit it 390 feet to right field for a home run. That's tomorrow's matchup, 6:30 with Marlins Live. Herron doing a nice job of keeping the ball in on his hands.
Well, Sandoval has only struck out 39 times, and he's only walked 13 times, 274 at bats.
Got an email from Sean. Get to it after the 2-2 pitch. Sandoval the center, Yelich back. And is there, and he makes the catch. By the way, did you know that the Fan Express is back, and it can bring you straight to the ballpark at Marlins Park, and it can pick you up at home, at work, wherever you are, and a bunch of your friends can ride along. You can book this luxury motor coach for your group by calling 305-480-2523 or email groups@marlins.com. Shane Victorino is in. The email is from Sean in Lubbock, Texas. And Seneca, South Carolina, and Miami Beach, Florida. With Marcell Ozuna being sent down, does that impact contract talks with him?
I don't think there was anything ongoing. What it impacts is the Marlins outfield. The outfield that started the season, the lone survivor right now is Christian Yelich.
Soft into right, and Gillespie can't get it. A dive picks it up. Big turn by Victorino, and he'll hold with a single. Nice effort by Cole Gillespie in right field.
And by the way, if you notice Victorino hitting right-handed against the right-hand throwing Dan Herron, he hasn't officially come out and said that he's no longer going to switch it, but he's pretty much stayed from the right side, especially coming back off the disabled list. Now he had a left calf strain that put him on the DL for a while. Good effort by Cole Gillespie.
The decision to send Ozuna down wasn't taken lightly by the organization. Here's Travis Shaw still looking for his first big league hit. I'm talking to Michael Hill, Marlins president of baseball operations. They felt Not only was Ozuna overmatched at the plate, but mentally right now he was in a bad spot, and a chance to get him to the minor leagues, clear his head, get some confidence. That one's hit a ton, headed to the Prudential Tower, but it's foul.
Yeah, it is. It was a decision that certainly was not taken lightly by the organization. And I know you and I both had conversations with Mike Hill about that. Just wanted to talk to him one-on-one, Michael said. Just get a feel of where he was mentally wise.
Pitch misses into Shaw out of Kent State University. His father pitched for 12 seasons in the big leagues, was a reliever, Jeff Shaw.
Spent some time with Cincinnati.
That one's into center field. That's his first big league hit. Victorino will turn second and get to third. And the Red Sox have something going here in the second at the corners. They'll ask for the baseball. And here comes Ryan Hanigan.
Well, his dad will be proud of that base hit. Travis Shaw getting it off a veteran major league pitcher.
Ninth spot comes up. That's Ryan Hanigan. Speaking of Reds, a longtime Cincinnati Red, as a backup catcher. And a backup catcher here who finds himself starting a lot. The injury to Blake Swihart has John Farrell kind of mixing and matching behind the plate. Heron looking for a ground ball, and he misses away. DJ wants to know, when will the Marlins get Giancarlo Stanton back? So far, it's still 4 to 6 weeks from the point of surgery.
I think after a couple of weeks, you'll have a little better idea of the progress of Big G's recovery.
Runner goes, hit and run, line drive, base hit. Shaw to third, Gillespie up with it. And the Red Sox execute to perfection a first and third hit and run. Ryan Hanigan delivers. It's 1-0.
All of a sudden you have the big boppers that you worry about, and it's the bottom of the order. Travis Shaw, now a terrific hit and run pulled off with Ryan Hanigan getting the base hit. John Farrell, the manager, probably thinking, you know what, here's a guy who could hit into a double play, better be careful. He put a little movement on. Victorino scored easily.
And now you get up to that young talent in the top of the order. Victorino, postseason hero in 2013 here in Boston.
Well, the Red Sox have a couple of postseason hero type guys in Sandoval and Victorino.
Well, Ortiz too.
Well, Ortiz has put together a good resume there too.
You're right. There are guys in and out of this lineup who have great postseason history. Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts is a outstanding baseball name, and as you would expect, his parents were big fans of basketball player Mookie Blaylock, as was the band Pearl Jam. That was one of their first names before they settled on Pearl Jam. That's one you won't find in the game notes. That one at the knees, but not a strike, and it's 2-0 to Betts. He's out of Brentwood, Tennessee. Hits it hard, couple hops. Echeverria, Gordon's turn is on the mark, and Heron gets that double play, but not before Boston breaks the ice with a run, and it's 1-0 at Fenway.
from the All-Star game, and the Marlins certainly disappointed that Adeiny Hechavarria did not garner more attention. Tom Kohler in particular, who sent out the following tweet to describe how he feels about it. He said, "A shame that Etch did not get more consideration for a final vote. Absolute stud at shortstop." And this team definitely agrees. Etch has been phenomenal, guys, on defense. We have seen him make so many great plays, including that double play to end the inning.
Yeah, Jess, and you know, we touched upon it. The hard part, and Cliff actually tweeted that as well. He wants to hear one of Tommy Hutton's rants about Hechavarria not being mentioned or named to the All-Star team or even mentioned as a snub. When you are where the Marlins are record-wise at 35-48, and you get two starters named to the team, and you have another guy in A.J. Ramos who's probably a little more deserving than Hechavarria, not that Hechavarria is not deserving, it's a numbers game. You fall behind the teams that are playing well and the players that are in the limelight.
Well, and I think you have to look at it this way, too.
Cole Gillespie knocks it down the right field line. It's a fair ball into the corner, and it's a tricky corner. Victorino plays it well. A leadoff double for Cole Gillespie here in Miami's third inning.
Cole Gillespie's done a nice job filling in. He seems like he picks up a base hit here and there. Had a double at Wrigley Field the other night.
He's got 5 hits, and 4 have been doubles.
Watch this corner. This is where it becomes tricky. Kind of caroms out. You have to just position yourself in the right spot. But getting back to Hechavarria, not being named, possibly because not being mentioned enough by others. You and I run into that all the time. We find broadcasters, people in other cities that don't even know how to say his name. There's a semi-rant. You don't even know how to say a guy's name. How are you going to mention him to possibly be an all-star? There you go.
On point. Because we find it surprisingly from people who cover the game nationally that don't know how to pronounce his name. It's hard not to see him and hear his name when you watch the highlights every night, especially the defensive highlights. And he's having an offensive year that is his best in the big leagues so far. There's the fielding percentage. He still leads all shortstops, including Andrelton Simmons, over the last 2 years in great plays made. Baseball Info Solutions helps track that. Here's Rojas. And a swing and a miss, and the Marlins unable to get Gillespie over after a leadoff double, and that's something that has haunted Miami from the very start of this season.
It's frustrating. You see a team of big boppers like the Red Sox pull off a hit and run, and it helps them get a run. The Marlins just trying to move a runner over to third, unable to do that. Let's change it. Smooth thinking. Miami has a question, Rich, since we've just been to both. Wrigley or Fenway? You can only pick one.
Wrigley or Fenway? I'll go Fenway for a couple of reasons. I like the fact that Fenway is closer to downtown Boston than Wrigley is to downtown Chicago. You can walk from your hotel here to Fenway. Can't really do that at Wrigley. And they have modernized this ballpark. The renovation in 2011 is complete. Now, if you ask us that question in 3 or 4 years when Wrigley's renovation is done, it may be a different answer. It might be Wrigley at that point.
And I agree with you. I think in a couple of years we might have a different answer, but I would agree with you. Right now, Fenway.
But certainly both ballparks have got to be in the top 5 as far as places to go and call a baseball game or see a baseball game.
However, I did have a little more on-field success at Wrigley.
As a player?
As a player, yeah. Hey, by the way, D. Gordon has had success against left-handers. 3rd in the National League is D. Gordon, hitting .371 against left-handed pitching.
Woo! Gordon just got his bat on it. Left oblique pain for Jeff Baker. And so Baker with left oblique pain. That's why he left the ball game. Ichiro is in Baker's spot. Ichiro in left. Michael Morse went from left to first. Here, Miami trying to even the score. A leadoff double by Cole Gillespie. Wade Miley struck out Miguel Rojas. And now he tries to pick off Gillespie. He's 1-2 on D. Gordon. I'm getting a lot of tweets from romantic baseball fans. Chase apparently just got engaged here in Boston.
Yeah, our congratulations to Chase.
She said yes at Boston Harbor. See you tonight at Fenway. Pitch is down low, and then I don't know if you got this one.
I wonder if that was on one of the duck boat tours.
I think the swan boats, it probably lends itself more to engagement than duck boats.
Yeah. Or the tall ships.
Good at bat by Gordon. 2-2. And he stays alive. And then this from Holly, just because the Marlins are playing the Sox, and Holly in a full embrace with her beau. But it looks like it's from an earlier game in Fenway. The tarp is on the field. So there you go. Some romantic tweets tonight.
How about the nice tweet from Blake? We had a chance to hang out in front of Mike's Pastries last night.
Yeah, very nice. In the north end, Gordon feeding foul ball after foul ball to the Fenway faithful. And that's out, and the great at bat continues for D. Gordon. Miley has struck out 3, his first time through the Marlin order. Gillespie still at second. And down he goes.
Well, D. Gordon gave him a good battle. Hey, Jay wants to know. He's just trying to get me going here. There's a good slider. Etch is having a nice year, but is the team really maximizing its offense by hitting him third? Yes, they are. Who else are you going to hit third? Especially with Stanton out. Echeverria hitting near 290. Swinging the bat well. You want a good hitter in that number 3 spot.
There's a liner into center field. Yelich up with the ball is Betts. Play at the plate. He is in there. Safe as Gillespie. A good throw by Betts as well. Hannigan out in front of the plate to get it. And Christian Yelich, the hottest hitter the Marlins have, who lined out to center in the first, scalds one up the middle.
Boy, he takes that slider, moves away from him a little bit, right back up the middle. 9-game hitting streak now for Yelich. 14 hits, 28 at bats. More good swings, and just like that, it's a 1-1 ball game. See where this ball hits. The throw from Betts a little bit pops up on the mound, slowed it up just a tad.
And that may have allowed him to just get by the tag, give him that extra instant.
And alertly, Christian Yelich, when he saw that ball not being cut off, took off to second base.
I think the way the question was asked, are the Marlins maximizing their offense having him third? And your point is, who else are you going to hit? And to me, it tells the story of where the Marlins are right now. There's no Stanton. There's no Prado. Morse has been cold.
The only other way you could do it, you could hit Echeverria second and Yelich third. But remember, Yelich was struggling. Moved into the second spot. He caught fire. And you know what? He's comfortable there. He's hitting. Echeverria's hitting.
I mean, look at Miami's lineup tonight. Miguel Rojas, Cole Gillespie, Jeff Baker, he's left. You got Morse, Justin Bour against the lefty. I mean, Echeverria doubled in the first. He's hitting over 290.
He's hitting over 360 against left-handers. So another reason, especially tonight, it's a good spot for him to be in.
Big lead by Yelich at second. Look out. That for Lenny Harris is not fun. With a runner at second, a third base coach has to be as far down the line as he feels is safe. And what third base coaches will do to help themselves is try to get as far off that line as possible. We saw the Cubs third base coach hit by a line drive down for over a minute in a really scary moment in Chicago this weekend. Yelich is running. That's fouled back. And he had a huge jump. It counts 1-2.
Yeah, if they're going to give it to you, you have to know the hitter. A lot of hitters don't like that too much. It disrupts their focus when they're at the plate, but got the kind of lead and the jump Yelich had. Go ahead and take it.
That one lined into the seats. 1-2. Game tied on the Yelich hit. Miley backs Echeverria off the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Red Sox have started to play with a little more urgency. Morse on deck. And Echeverria goes down swinging. But Miami draws even. The double by Gillespie and the 2-out hit by Yelich do the trick. Sitting behind home plate, Jim Rice just introduced to the faithful here at Fenway. Boston slugger. Dan Herron back to work in what is now a 1-1 game. There's Jim Rice's number.
I thought one of the great notes on Brock Holt, the versatile all-star, for the Red Sox.
Liner over the head of Echeverria and into left center.
He has played a lot of positions, 7 positions. There are 2 other All-Stars that in that same year played 7 positions. Ben Zobrist one, and the other,
Cookie Rojas.
Cookie Rojas.
The trick is Holt is the only guy to do it before the All-Star break, whereas both Zobrist and Cookie did it over the course of that season. Xander Bogaerts now in the 3 spot. Herring gets a strike. Our Geico Marlins moment on this date, 1996. Serving as interim manager for the fired Rene Latchman, Cookie Rojas leads the Fish to a 7-3 win in Philadelphia. That was at the Vet.
In a town where he also had played.
And played quite well.
Yes.
Those were the days of Wine and Rojas. Bobby Wine, Cookie Rojas. Up the middle.
Pretty good double play combo.
Cookie would go on to play at Kansas City with the great Freddie Patek. And those two were very, very good in the mid-70s. Bogart struck out back in the first. Holt can run a little. He's got 5 stolen bases. High chopper, and it's a fair ball. Down the corner it goes. It kicks out to Ichiro, who picks it up. A double for Bogaerts. Just an odd play from the hop to the collision between Rojas and the third base umpire, Alfonso Marquez.
The other thing to watch, when you see a ball down that left field line, if it hits this little corner, you have to be alert as a shortstop as well. Talk about left fielders, but if the ball doesn't get into that corner, it kicks back that way. So you see Echeverria going out. You have to be alive as a shortstop on a ball there, too.
Watching this play, Tommy, an email just popped up in my inbox from Jorge. Why not just move Yelich back to his natural position in left and have Ichiro come into the game and play center?
I don't think the Marlins have any fear of Yelich in center field. They feel he can play center field as well as anybody.
Same with Ichiro in either place?
I think Ichiro mostly in his career played right field. He can play center, but I think Yelich and Dan Jennings, the organization, they feel comfortable with Christian Yelich in center. But it's a thought. We like to keep you thinking. That's good.
Well, now Herron has to deal with Big Papi, Hanley Ramirez, and Pablo Sandoval. A liner, it's caught by Morse. Just got it before it hit the dirt, and hit such that the runner at third, Brock Holt, had to hold. If that ball is hit on the ground, Holt will score.
It's a good job by Michael Morse. And think about it, most of the afternoon when the ball club came out and just kind of got acquainted with Fenway, and he was working in left field, working balls off the Green Monster. He's out there for a half inning, and then because of Baker's injury, he comes in to play first base.
So it's Hanley Ramirez now, who struck out back in the first. Hanley has homered in 3 of his last 4 games. He had the home run that helped beat Houston on Sunday. The Red Sox took 2 of 3 from the first place Astros in that weekend series, while the Marlins dropped 2 of 3 against the Cubs. John Farrell in his 3rd season. Big dip last year, 71 and 91, and that came after a World Championship year. 97 wins in the regular season in 2013. Herron gets a strike.
Of course, Hanley, a 3-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year, won a batting title in 2009.
Nice play down there. That would be a Perry Hill disciple. I believe she's got the Perry Hill DVD, including the 6 Fs.
She's very alert down there, which she has to be.
Play the marks. There's Bone. Here's a 1-2. You saw that term in the Tom Kohler tweet, play the marks. And you hear that around the Marlin infield. Perry Hill has a system where he'll actually put marks on the field as a starting point and a point of reference for his infielders to shift with certain hitters and on certain pitches.
So where the mark is kind of a starting point, and he'll have them go to the left, to the right.
2-2, strike 3 called. Down goes Hanley.
Whoops.
JT Realmuto almost left the field with the ball, and that was out number 2.
And a couple of runners on base.
Yes. And that was a perfect pitch. Right on the inside corner. Thankfully, he didn't throw the ball into the stands to some fan.
Little cutter came back, caught the inside corner. Look at Dan Herron saying, hold things. You know, it happens to everybody.
It does.
And you just hope when it does, you're not embarrassed too badly.
Was it Larry Walker in right field that had that happen? Jam shot pop up, and look at this. Dan Herron gets out of it. Second and third, and nobody out, and Herron escapes, and this game is still 1-1. Moving over the light tower here at Fenway. Sweet. You got all the different colors from the Fens and the Back Bay here in New England. Michael Morse, Justin Bohr, and Ichiro, fastball foul back and out of play. And you've tuned in on a night where it's our social media night. So emails and tweets, we answer as many as we can. One of the topics tonight, if you hashtag it, ASG 2015 All-Star Game. Morse takes up from Wade Miley. Michael Morse bounced out back in the first. Christian Yelich RBI single scored Cole Gillespie for Miami's run in the third. .57 pitches in is Miley. Cliff was able to elicit a Tommy Hutton rant. And that's strike 3. Down goes Morse. Let's watch the pitch.
He's set up inside. It's up, and it's not inside. It's in that strike zone, and Fox Tracks, I guarantee Michael Morse thought it was high and out of the zone.
Justin Bohr takes a strike. Bohr bounced to second in his only at bat. Wade Miley getting the start, the 28-year-old, the veteran out of southeast Louisiana.
6 strikeouts already for Miley, who in his entire career, he's making his 119th career start, has never thrown a complete game.
Bohr gets jammed, pops it up. Pablo Sandoval makes the catch. 2 outs in the 4th. Got a watch party tomorrow night, Tommy Hutton, at the Sports Grill Sunset. Marlins and Red Sox start at 7:10. You can start whenever you want. Just be there for the game. You can win tickets to upcoming Marlin games, raffle prizes, meet Billy, meet the Energy team, enjoy Corona Light specials, dance with the Energy team, dance with Billy. And that's all tomorrow night at the Sports Grill Sunset. Go to Marlins.com for more detail. First at bat for Ichiro. He came in after Jeff Baker left with a strained oblique. And it has been a tough run for Ichiro.
Yeah, it has. Something that he's only dealt with one other run like this before in his career when he was with Seattle. And with the injury to Baker and the move bringing Ichiro in, there it is, 0 for his last 25. All of a sudden, the Marlins, against a left-hander, have 4 left-handers in the lineup.
Ichiro swings and misses. Ball kicks away. Count 2-2. Richard wants to know what stands out to you guys about seeing more lefties and having success against them for the Marlins this year. Well, tonight Wade Miley is on. He strikes out Morse and Ichiro in a 1-2-3-4. Visit your South Florida Chevy dealers today. Buy 5-hour energy shots Have you tried great tasting 5-Hour Energy lately? And by Subaru Pembroke Pines, price, service, selection. You are gonna love us. Underneath the Prudential Building, downtown Boston, right beyond the fences here at Fenway. Dan Herron back to work. The veteran pitchers have been able to navigate this ball game without too much damage. A 1-1 game, and here's Victorino. And as Tommy pointed out, the switch hitting has kind of been abandoned for right-handed at bats. He singled in the second.
A little bit for Pablo Sandoval, too. He's been staying on the left side.
Bouncer, Echeverria on to first. All right, All-Star game has kind of been our topic tonight. The starters in the National League, Giancarlo Stanton, replaced by Chris Bryant, because Stanton, obviously, with that hamate bone injury, will not be able to play. And so the Cubs' third baseman / outfielder gets a spot on the All-Star team.
If Matt Holliday isn't able to play, we could see Andrew McCutcheon in the outfield. I don't think when you look at those starters that were voted in, you can't really argue too much. Johnny Peralta having a terrific year with St. Louis.
Travis Shaw, who got his first big league hit in the second. Here are the reserves. Good to see our friend Anthony Rizzo on there.
Yasmani Grandal.
How about Joe Panik, Bryant, Arenado?
A lot of young players. Jock Peterson.
A.J. Pollock. That one's to center. Yelich back, looks up, off the monster. Tripping and falling at first is Shaw, and that's as far as he gets. That was a long way to center, over Yelich's head, and Shaw was either watching the ball and not watching the bag. Let's see if we can find out exactly what happened.
Well, he's watching the ball. He's watching the ball. He's not sure if it's going to go out. He knows it's going to go over the head of Yelich, and there he is taking a peek and then kind of slips as he comes on the top of the bag instead of hitting that corner of the bag.
And you saw his head. He was looking out in the outfield. Didn't look like he took a peek at the bag.
So tonight he'll always remember his first major league base hit, and he'll probably always remember his second major league hit.
He'll probably remember the second one more than the first one, because that was extra bases. As it is, it's a single. Now remember the hit and run with Shaw on the move in the second. Hannigan blistered one through the vacated spot of D. Gordon.
Just before, Rich, you were talking about some of the reserves. You mentioned A.J. Pollock. I think you and I had that discussion a while ago. Certainly deserving to make that All-Star team.
I haven't seen the numbers, but I would guess that out of the reserves, the American League and the National League, you have a much younger age on average than maybe ever before.
Yeah, with Pollock, with Jock Peterson, with Bryant, Arenado's young,
Crawford,
Panik, Anthony Rizzo.
LeMahieu's young.
So a very young reserve group.
All right, you've seen the starters and now the reserves for the National League. Maybe some guys that didn't quite make it. Hanley Ramirez getting some attention from the trainer. That's a familiar sight. Justin Turner, Matt Carpenter, Joey Votto, Adam Lind. Of course, we've noted A.J. Ramos. Those are National League guys. It's a short etch. Gordon. And a double play. 6-4-3 on the double play. Nicely done by Dan Herron. That slip comes in handy for the Marlins. into the 5th inning. Saturday, Tigers and Twins. Game you can only see on Fox Sports 1. It begins at 4 Eastern. And then at 7 Eastern, Baseball Night in America, the Yankees and the Red Sox on your local Fox station. It's all this week on your home for baseball every Saturday, Fox and Fox Sports 1.
We've been talking a lot about All-Stars. I think one of them, there's an All-Star, Wade Miley, not this year, but he was an All-Star in 2012. One of the nice little touches. First time in 17 years, an All-Star, A.J. Burnett with the Pirates.
That is. Who certainly has had, in the second half of his career, a much different time, both on and off the field, it seems like, than he did his first half of his career. Now he's become somewhat of a leader, a mentor to many of the starters in Pittsburgh.
He'll be the first to tell you that he's changed things. He's matured.
JT Realmuto, Cole Gillespie, Miguel Rojas in the 5th against Wade Miley in a 1-1 game. End of the bat, it rolls foul. National League pitchers. This from a player vote and named by Bruce Bochy.
Well, you got certainly Bumgarner. You got Chapman. He'll probably close things. It's in Cincinnati. Why not? Jacob deGrom, deserving. Young pitcher Garrett Cole on that list. Greinke's been phenomenal.
There's another hard chopper. Sandoval just gets Realmuto. Boy, that was close.
I think a lot of infielders, if they don't check that scouting report, are fooled by the speed of Realmuto.
You know Scherzer was going to be on there.
Some young pitchers, Shelby Miller.
How about K-Rod and the Brewers, who all of a sudden have started to play better? Michael Wacha. Martin Melanson of the Pirates.
But certainly, because the game, if the National League has the lead, because it's in Cincinnati, you know Aroldis Chapman will be coming in from the bullpen to close.
Have you seen a list yet? And I haven't. I looked for it today of the grounder to first. Shaw gets it. Pitchers from the American League and the National League were scheduled to start on Sunday and thus would not be eligible to pitch on Tuesday for the All-Star game.
Well, I'm just thinking about, no, I haven't seen a list, but Scherzer's pitching tonight. His 5th day would be Sunday. He could be one.
Which would open a spot up for another pitcher in the National League. Here is Miguel Rojas. Michelle has an email from Orlando. Pitch is out. What happened to the players who made the All-Star team getting stars on their jersey? I remember that from a few years ago. Do they still do that? You remember that? Guys that were named All-Stars?
Yeah, I remember that. That was cool.
Put it on their hat and their jersey. I like that. That was a nice touch. (2-0). Rojas getting a start at third base. Why do you think the Marlins are better against lefties? We had that email last inning.
Well, you have, and this goes back to when Giancarlo was in the lineup. A couple of lefty bats that hit lefties well. Talked about D. Gordon earlier, hitting over 370 against lefties. Christian Yelich is up things against left-handers. And I think that's why. Realmuto, a little better. Echeverria.
American League starting pitching and relief pitching, who are all-stars. What you got?
I think, Rich, the starting pitching in the American League is a little bit better. Chris Archer, been fantastic. Sonny Gray, King Felix, Dallas Keuchel could start that game. David Price, Chris Sale. Really good starting pitching on that American League team.
Wade Miley takes a shot at Miguel Rojas at first. You got D. Gordon up there right now, who is lined out and struck out. Miami has 3 hits. Boston has 6.
Chris Sale finally had that streak snapped. He had a streak of 8 consecutive games of 10 or more strikeouts. Now, he had the streak snapped last night against Toronto, but he did pitch a complete game, 4-2 win. He went up against Mark Burley, and the game was played in an hour and 54 minutes.
Gordon's bouncer, Miley stabs at it and gets it and throws him out. Halfway through in Boston, 1-1. The fifth, a little social media going on, and now we invite you, thanks to T-Mobile, to tweet your strongest fan photo. FL Data Strong Fan is the hashtag. You might see yourself in upcoming telecasts. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. A lot of Marlin fans here in Boston, downtown Boston. Team hotel here at Fenway. Big crowd of Marlin fans on the field for batting practice. Mookie Betts, Brock Holt, Xander Bogaerts against Dan Herron. A slow breaking ball for a strike. It's 1-1. Red Sox got a run in the second. A Ryan Hannigan hit and run single to right drove in Shane Victorino. And Christian Yelich answered in the top of the third. His 2-out line drive to center scored Cole Gillespie. And that's it against Wade Miley and Dan Herron. 1-1, bottom 5. And Betts takes a strike. Mookie Betts grew up at the ballpark in a major league park. His uncle is Terry Shumpert. Played 14 years in the big leagues. And he had a nice career. He and Shumpert's son Nick were good friends. That one is to left center. Yelich approaching the monster is there, leaps, and he got it. Christian Yelich. Well, we saw Jake Marisnick of the Astros climb the monster this weekend. Yelich getting there, made a leap and used that long, tall frame to haul it in.
Boy, there's just a lot of things that make this a difficult play. It's a little bit of twilight time, so you always take a chance of, when you get to your spot, taking your eye off the ball. Then you're dealing with an area you haven't dealt with ever. First time ever at Fenway Park. Brett Butler loves it. He worked with the outfielders today early. Just a nice play by Christian Yelich. Remember, we had a fan who wanted him in left and Ichiro in center, too. Just thought I'd remind you.
You're playing the result there, aren't you?
I don't forget that stuff.
Brock Holt takes in. Holt is 1 for 2. Luis in Kendall. He's got a few questions here. Wants to start with the DH. What's the possibility that either the National League reinstate it or the American League stops and the pitchers hit there?
Well, I think if it's ever the same in both leagues, it would be the DH. I don't think the DH will be dropped. So if it's ever uniform, the National League would probably have the DH.
Full count at 3-2. All right, his next question, interleague play. What are the possibilities of seeing more or having less? Do you really need to play 19 games in your division against the Braves, Mets, Nats, and Phillies?
I think that number could be brought down a little bit.
Liner to left, Ichiro's there, and he makes the catch, and we check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Rich, the Marlins have had 26 players throughout the history of their franchise who have been named All-Stars, but there have been only 4 players who have earned that honor 3 times in their career. Take a look at that list because it is impressive. First off, Mike Lowell, who did it in 2002, 03, and 04. Luis Castillo, 2002, 03, and 05. Hanley Ramirez in 08, 09, and 2010. And, of course, Giancarlo Stanton, who was first named an All-Star in 2012. He did it in 2014 and 2015. So Stanton already in very impressive company when it comes to being an All-Star.
Had 2 All-Star starters for the first time. And you never know. If the dominoes fall in a good way, you could see A.J. Ramos maybe sneak in there.
Well, the only other starters that the Marlins have had, Hanley a couple of times, and Gary Sheffield. Not in the same year.
Ground ball pulled to third. Rojas crossed the diamond. Dan Herron looking strong. Not necessarily Boston strong, but strong. Through 5, it's 1-1.
But he is looking legal.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Marlins, may not be reproduced or retransmitted, and any form of accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. There, you were calling for Boston legal, so there you go. There's the legal portion.
That's right.
Not legal seafoods, but the legal portion of the telecast. Christian Yelich, Danny Echeverria, Michael Morse in the 6th. Wade Miley has been very, very good, just like Dan Herron. And as a result, there have been only 9 hits in the game. The Marlins have 3, the Red Sox with 6.
Wade Miley, in his time with the Diamondbacks, just very consistent. His last 3 years, he averaged 11 wins, 32 starts, and almost 200 innings. And we told you 16 wins in 2012, his All-Star season. Yelich
Sandoval, no chance. And Yelich beats it out. His second hit tonight. Christian Yelich, in his 9-game hit streak, has 15 hits. And his average just keeps climbing higher.
Well, Sandoval didn't get the out, but he kept this ball in the infield. If this ball gets by, Christian Yelich is at second base. So a 2-for-3 night for Yelich. His out was a line drive to center field.
Echeverria doubled in the first, struck out in the third.
Miley, by the way, has only allowed 1 stolen base all year. Very tough to steal against.
Yelich had that great jump, but it was at second earlier in the ball game. South Florida Honda dealers, get you ready for Red Sox and Marlins. Craig Minervini, Preston Wilson wrap up the road trip. It's a Tom Kohler, Rick Porcello matchup. Scotty wants to know, Rich and Tommy, how would you enhance Major League Parks to improve the safety for spectators without diminishing the fan experience?
Well, I think you and I have talked about it numerous occasions. Extend that screen. Doesn't have to go beyond the dugout, but at least to the dugout. Because, as you point out a lot, fans behind home plate in those very expensive seats sit behind a screen. So it's not going to bother anybody down either line to be behind a screen as well.
2 days ago, there was another fan seriously hurt in Milwaukee, sitting by a dugout in a front row seat, hit in the head. A woman that was hospitalized. The woman that was hurt here in Boston, Echeverria can't check his swing and he's out, is still in a rehab center, and she was seriously injured. And that was about a month ago. And, you know, I've told you, I saw that in firsthand in Japan, where they have it in Japan, the screen that just is 8 to 10 feet going from the home plate screen all the way down to past the dugout right field line. It protects fans from line drives and bats in those first probably 10 rows, because the ball or a bat obviously comes up at an angle from home plate. And in this ballpark, you are so close in this park.
Well, we've seen the perfect examples in Wrigley Field and here.
I mean, those fans here are sitting essentially not directly behind home plate, but pretty darn close. You can see those fans, they don't have anything in front of them. A bat breaks, a guy checks his swing and lines one right at him. So, to answer your question, Scotty, I'm a big fan of the screen that runs from the home plate screen down the lines. I think once you install it and fans get used to it, they won't see it as a hindrance. And quite honestly, you'd like to see it done before someone loses their life. It happened in the 70s, I believe. Manny Mota of the Dodgers.
And then you have to just try to encourage fans to stay alert.
Yelich at first, 3-0 pitch coming. Michael Morse takes a strike. Morse getting a start, his first start in a long time, and first start since coming off the disabled list. He's 0 for 2. He's bounced out and struck out.
Played 12 games on his rehab assignment. Hit .263.
And then that's ball 4. Morse walks.
First walk issued by Wade Miley. Second walk. See, when I don't look down my entire scorecard.
Well, I got to be honest with you. You were actually reading a tweet when Rojas walked back in the
That
fifth.
is true. Trying to get to some tweets here. Just a lot of folks telling us to enjoy Boston, the duck boats, Quincy Market. The chowder.
Board chops one over the middle. Backing up there is Bogarts. Quick throw to first is in time to get the out. And Miami is set up second and third, but there are 2 outs. Nice play by Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah, there was a lot going through Bogart's mind as he makes this play. He's thinking about, am I close enough to second base to maybe turn a double play, but then he realized he wasn't. Ball was hit sharply, but Bogaerts is a terrific defender.
Good question from Paul in South Miami. Rich and Tommy, big fan of the telecast. In your opinion, who's the best player never to play or get selected to an all-star team or play in an all-star game?
Well,
yourself excluded.
I'm going to throw out a name only because it's always been a great trivia question. Because this player won an MVP, but never made an all-star team.
And never shaved in his major league career.
Kirk Gibson.
Yes, he always had the 3-day beard going. Here's Ichiro, and if there's ever a time to snap the longest offer in your career, it's right now.
And when you're in one of those offers, it seems like you're always behind in the count.
For his last 26 is Ichiro.
Boy, the outfield really shading Ichiro. Hanley Ramirez shallow and as far over toward that line as you can get.
That is strike 3 called. Ichiro goes down. It has been a rough ride for a future Hall of Famer. That pitch just out. But strike 3 for Wade Miley. Coors Light, Christmas in July. It's coming up on Friday. Tommy, have you been a good boy or a bad boy?
So far, so good.
That's the halfway point for Christmas, so I guess that's appropriate. Reds, Marlins, 7:10. Christmas in July special event package for just $25. Fans get a Marlins Energy Team poster courtesy of Miccosukee Resort and Gaming. Presented by Preferred Care Partners. Tommy, you can get an Energy Team poster. And I know in your garage, which is a bastion of neat and clean and everything is in order, what's missing is an Energy Team poster. That would complete it. Your wife, Deb, would be thrilled.
That one little area, there's a little water damage. The poster would clean that up right away.
Big Poppy swing and a miss. Dan Herron comes out dealing.
With the big shift on to throw the ball around the infield, JT Real Muto had to throw the ball all the way out to shortstop.
Yeah. And then the rest of the infield, while they were de-shifting, had to figure out how to get it around the horn.
And JT had to look around. There's a good fastball just spotted perfectly. Then he had to look around and go, oh, I got to throw it way out there.
All right, now watch. Okay, where do I go?
No longer is it around the horn.
And then where do you go from there? Echeverria turned to throw it to second, but Rojas was shifting back to third, so he got it right on the grass. He had to turn and throw it to Gordon, who was still in shallow right. Hanley Ramirez. Well, some big strikeouts for both Dan Herron and Wade Miley. Some of the biggest for Herron were against Hanley Ramirez. Popped him up, first base side. Morse sees it and makes the catch. So Hanley has struck out twice and popped out. And there are 2 outs. Here comes Pablo Sandoval.
Dan Herron just continues to work the plate. Cutters, the curveball, the split. Moves the ball around. You see hitters off balance. You haven't seen real solid swings tonight from the Red Sox.
Who would you pick as the final vote? John wants to know from Parkland. We had it a little bit earlier, but I don't know if I gave my...
Yeah, I gave mine.
Who'd you go with?
Well,
Dozier
in the American League, I went with Brian Dozier. He's hitting 260, but 16 home runs, 40 RBIs as a second baseman. And in the National League, I went with Juris Familia. A 1.16 ERA, 22 saves for Familia.
That one foul back. All right, National League.
I know a lot of Met fans would be surprised that I'm going in that direction.
I'll go Johnny Cueto.
All right.
From Cincinnati. Although the metrics on Clayton Kershaw are pretty good, even though the raw numbers aren't Kershaw-like. I'll go Cueto in the National League. Herron to the plate. Swing and a miss. Dan Herron getting stronger as the night grows longer. A 1-2-3. He's retired 8 straight. Big Buford, and Big Chicken Deluxe. Get 2 for $5. Checkers, it's in the bag. And by the Florida Department of Transportation, reminding you to drive sober or get pulled over.
Season high 9 strikeouts for Wade Miley.
JT Realmuto lines one to left, and it bangs off of the monster. Round first, headed for second. Hanley Ramirez, throw to second. Realmuto's in there with a double. That was a close play, but the speed and athleticism of JT Realmuto came in handy.
Yeah, there's the green monster at its finest. This ball smoked by JT. Hanley plays it well. You realize you're not going to catch it. You play the carom. He came up, threw it like an infielder. But JT's speed just beat it out. So once again, the Marlins get a leadoff double. Let's see if they can do something with it. This time they were able to get a run in the third with a big 2-out base hit by Christian Yelich.
Well, Gillespie is up. He is doubled and bounced out. Shortens the bunt and takes a ball. It's 1-0.
I love this tweet from Diana. I believe Diana and friends are here at Fenway Park tonight too. Do you think fans should celebrate the guys who get on the All-Star team more than they complain about the snubs? Absolutely. You know, you could make the roster to 50, and you're going to be able to find somebody who should have been on.
Hitting about 260.
Yeah. So celebrate the guys who are all-stars. I like that.
Red Sox bullpen in action. Junichi Tazawa. That'll get it done. Down the line it goes. And the Marlins are going to take the lead. Realmuto will score. Gillespie has another hit. And it's 2-1 Miami. And as Tommy Hutton loves to preach, when you try to do the right thing, good things will happen.
And he was. He was trying to move the runner over. He was staying back. He was trying to hit the ball the other way. And he's able to sneak it past Travis Shaw, the first baseman.
Now you've got Rojas. And let's see how the Marlins play this. They can hit and run. They can bunt. Rojas has struck out and he has walked. You got Gillespie at first. Miley has a terrific move. And so Rojas bunts. And the out at first with Holt there to step on the bag. And now Gillespie is in scoring position. Fish Family, the exclusive loyalty program of the Marlins. And now Fish Family members can get bonus points during every Marlins road telecast on Fox Sports. And your bonus code tonight is Green Monster. In fact, a good number of Fish Family members are camped out on the Green Monster. So that's an appropriate code tonight.
We had a chance to chat with some of them. By the way, a terrific jump by Cole Gillespie on that bunt. Shaw thought about a play at second, but because Gillespie got such a good jump, there was none.
Gordon pulls it to the second baseman. Holtz gets the out. And so that brings up Christian Yelich with a runner at third and 2 outs. There's some Fish fans there. There you go. Now you're getting into some very loyal Fish fans.
Our good friends Bruce and Susan. They have been loyal Marlins fans since day one.
Up on the monster seats. Yelich takes a strike. Well, the Marlins have the right guy up. Yelich is red hot. He's hit in 9 straight, 2 for 3 tonight. And his out was a line drive out to center. And he bangs that one to center field. Betts is not going to get it all the way to the wall. Yelich around first, headed to second. And I'm, for one, a bit surprised that Wade Miley would challenge him right there with a fastball right down the chute. As hot as he is, as good of swings as he's had tonight, Yelich has 3 hits.
Christian Yelich reminding Red Sox fans of Fred Lynn with this left-handed swing. You talk about a ballpark that's built perfect for Yelich, and he drives that ball hard over the head of Betts. He has been on every pitch tonight. Great night for Christian Yelich.
Yelich's double knocks in Gillespie, and it knocks out Wade Miley. Tazawa is coming in, and this is a West Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. Marlins Park. Oh, there's Yelich. Saturday Spectacular on the 11th. That's a 4 o'clock game. Reds, Marlins. All you can eat seats, just $35. After the game, a concert on the West Plaza with Puerto Rican salsa star Jerry Rivera. Presented by Bacardi. Go to marlins.com for tickets. Junichi Tazawa faces Adeiny Echeverria. Yelich at second, and Miami's lead now at 2. Echeverria has doubled and struck out twice. Fastball misses out. Well, the Marlins knock Wade Miley out of the ballgame. Tazawa pitched on Sunday, scoreless inning. Echeverria lifts it to right. Victorino is under it, and he makes the catch. Christian Yelich has been big all night long. 3 for 4. It's 3-1. baseball's best players are about to gather in Cincinnati. Midsummer Classic home field advantage for the World Series is on the line. And coverage of the 2015 Major League Baseball All-Star Game begins on Tuesday, July 14th, 7 Eastern on Fox, and it streams live on Fox Sports Go. And it's a week from tonight, Tommy Hutton.
I'm looking forward to the All-Star Game. My anticipation of the home run derby has kind of waned, though. Steve Cishek getting ready to work. No Giancarlo. No Miguel Cabrera. No Bryce Harper.
And they have changed the format, by the way. It'll now have a time clock in honor of the pace of play initiative and the clock in baseball. The home run hitting contest needed a pace of play initiative.
Yes, it did.
Cishek to Victorino. Fastball misses away. Mike Dunn out in the bullpen in right field.
I think the thought here, you start the inning with Cishek. 99 pitches for Dan Herron. Unless he has a real low pitch inning, you're going to have to go to the bullpen midstream. So I think Dan Jennings wanted to say, okay, get Cishek out there to begin an inning. He's happy to be here. He's back home.
Yeah, and you know what? He's starting to get back to his old form.
Yes, he is.
Which is really good to see. He's such a weapon. He got to go home yesterday. Tomorrow he'll be speaking at the Bo Sox monthly luncheon. They always invite a player from the opposing team, and Cishek, who was able to do that back in 2012, is thrilled to do it again in 2015.
I expect, Rich, as you will be a part of that, I expect inside information on that luncheon.
I'm not sure where we're going to have it. I think we're having it out in the Green Monster. Not on it, but in it. Which, by the way, now you've been around the American League with the Yankees and the Blue Jays as a broadcaster. In left field, in the Monster, or on the Monster, there is a ladder that runs from the top of the Monster down to the scoreboard. And I've always wondered what that ladder is for. Now, some will say it was Manny Ramirez's escape hatch to get out of the Monster.
He had a couple.
Liner to right by Travis Shaw. And it's picked up by Cole Gillespie. Is it an old fire code from when they had the wall up many years ago?
Because remember, not sure how long the Monster seats have been there, but prior to those being there were no seats above the Green Monster.
There is some Morse code out there on the Monster, and that is in the stripes that divide the American League and National League out-of-town scores. And I've got to be honest with you, I've forgotten what the Morse code is. I believe it's an owner's initials or a note to his daughter or something to that effect.
Something that was put up there perhaps by the spaceman, Bill Lee.
I believe it's a previous owner's initials, but I'm not sure. I do know that the ladder in left field is one of my favorite Dave Niehaus memories. I was the pregame host on television for the Seattle Mariners when the great Hall of Famer was calling games, and one day Dave was fixated on the ladder and was talking about the fact that he'd never seen the ladder hit or in play, and he wondered out loud what the ground rule was. And darned if an inning later someone didn't hit the ladder with a line drive, and it absolutely,
it's got to be in play. It just, whichever direction it goes.
It absolutely made Dave's day. Thomas and Gene Yawkey. Those are the initials of the Morse code out in left field. Hannigan takes in. I do know, and just in reading up,
it's all coming back to you now.
I do know this, that there used to actually be a hill out in left field. It was Duffy's Cliff, the left field foul pole, and in left field to the Monster, there used to be a 10-foot high hill. in left field, running out to center field. Pitch misses in, and Cishek now has runners at first and second and one out, and he gets the top of the order. Chevron brings you tomorrow's starters. Around the bend, Tom Kohler and Rick Porcello. That is tomorrow night. Can you imagine the Green Monster with a 10-foot hill? You have to run up the hill. Maybe the ladder was...
See, it's all coming back to me, too, now, Rich. If you remember, before the seats, the monster seats, there was netting up above the Green Monster. So the ladder was used. You go up the ladder, you retrieve the home run balls that were hit into the netting.
Hit hard off of Rojas's glove, and everybody is safe. Mookie Betts hit what looked like a 5-3 double play in the making. And Rojas may have been thinking that before it hit his glove.
Boy, this was going to be tailor-made if Rojas picks this ball cleanly. But getting to third ahead of Rojas, Travis Shaw. Sometimes you think ahead of yourself and you're thinking about touching third base before you actually catch the ball.
Dan Jennings is coming out, and so is Steve Cishek. With Brock Holt, a lefty bat, due up. Wes Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. It's 3-1 Miami, but Boston has them loaded in the seventh. Check in the game and quickly out. The error given to Miguel Rojas, and that loads the bases with one out. Toyota Trent, we told you Boston's been playing better. They've won 12 of their last 19. Only Washington and the Angels have a better percentage than the Red Sox have in their last 19 games since the 16th of June.
So the Marlins arriving in Boston to a team that's all of a sudden started to perk up and play better. It's always been a tough place. Marlins in their history just 6-12 at Fenway Park.
Mike Dunn misses in to Brock Holt. 1 for 3 is Holt. Lefty on lefty. Oof. Fastball, and Holt had a good rip. Dunn gets it by him. Bags filled with Red Sox. Travis Shaw singled. Ryan Hannigan walked. Betts reached on the error by Rojas.
The other thing during that time, that graphic we showed you, they've hit really well. The Red Sox have with runners in scoring position.
The 2-1. It's fouled at the plate, and the count evens now at 2-2.
Planted a good seed in Holt's mind now, because that was a good slider that he just was able to foul off.
Infield looking for a ground ball. The 2-2. He got him. Mike Dunn strikes out Brock Holt.
Boy, it all goes back to the slider. If he's not able to command that and he has to stay with fastballs, Holt may have a different thought on this. But because he threw him a good slider the pitch before, boom, fastball right there, freezes him. Big out, good pitch by Mike Dunn.
One and done nicely by Mike Dunn. He comes in and gets an all-star. Right now the Red Sox only all-star. He strikes out Brock Holt. Xander Bogaerts, the right-hander. And Miami's going to go to Carter Capps with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Home plate umpire Mike Everett is out. And the Marlins make the move. Wes Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. 3-1 Miami. They still need one more out. Xander Bogaerts, the shortstop for the Red Sox, with the bags loaded, and he will get a look at Carter Capps.
Boy, look at this. Strikeouts to walks, 44-5. Just been tremendous. A little bump in the road last time out, but you know what? It's going to happen once in a while. The Red Sox tonight 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. The Marlins, by the way, are 3 for 11 in those spots, but Christian Yelich 2 for 2.
Look at that, 17.22 for Aroldis Chapman and then Andrew Miller. So here's Bogaerts. He doubled in the third. It's Capps and Bogaerts with the bags loaded and 2 out. And Carter Capps misses away. 1-0. Fans in Boston, as we've heard in different ballparks, the first time they see Carter Capps, there's a murmur that goes on for 2 reasons. One, his delivery, and then what follows is the speed of the fastball. And now Boston fans getting excited because the count's 2-0. And Capps has missed with his first 3 pitches. Second one was close. The third one was not. There's a strike at 99. Bogaerts has 19 doubles. He's having an all-star worthy year. He is one of the 5 in the American League final votes.
Capps has gotten in a situation where he's going to have to stay with his fastball too.
Well, the nice thing about that is his fastball is he's usually close to triple digits. It's not like you can just sit on it. You still have to cheat to get there. Full count, 2 down. Runners will be on the move. Let's see if it's fastball again.
Went from 97 to 99.
That would not qualify as changing speeds, though. You can see kind of a smile out of Bogaerts. There's your speed variation. He's thrown all fastballs. Since he hasn't thrown a slider since warming up.
No, he's got to stay with the fastball. If he throws a slider, he'll have everybody in the ballpark fooled, including Bogaerts.
Bogaerts asked for time. Bogaerts saw plenty of playing time in that 2013 World Series. 3-2. Shoots it foul. Again. Hit hard and into right center field. It'll score 1. It'll score 2. Round third coming home. It scores 3.
One of the problems with all the fastballs, and he had to stay with it just because he never was able to establish things early on. Doesn't matter how hard it is, Major League hitters sooner or later is going to catch up to it. And you saw Bogaerts foul off a few, but this one he catches up to and he scalds it.
Now David Ortiz, Bogaerts at first, emptying the bases. Not often do you see a 3-run single.
There was a lot of speed out there, too.
Yeah, Mookie Betts coming from first. That one misses everybody and gets to the screen.
You start to watch Carter Capps, and you get the feeling that he does a little bit better when he comes in to start an inning with nobody on base. And unfortunately, the way this inning unfolded, he had to come in a bases loaded situation.
As you see, past the ball. Bogart's in scoring position. 4-3 Boston. Steve Cishek started the inning in relief for Dan Herron, and once again a Dan Herron start in which he puts himself in a position to win a game, slips through the hands of the Marlins pen. Now of course Cishek had what he thought and what many thought was the inning-ending ground ball, the one that kicked out of the glove of Miguel Rojas at third. It looked like a 5-3 double play.
That's the play of the inning.
And now Capps, with nobody warming up in the bullpen now, Capps having trouble just finding his groove.
And all of a sudden, the last couple of times for Carter Capps, you've seen a little trouble with him establishing that slider, not being able to throw it for strikes and having to rely on the fastball. His last time out in Chicago gave up a couple of hits and a run, working the 8th inning in that game.
Chuck Hernandez is out. Hanley Ramirez is the hitter, and this is one guy that obviously can hurt you. He leads the Red Sox with 18 homers. But the Marlins have handled him tonight. He struck out twice and popped out. Carter Capps trying to figure out a way to end this inning and at least get to the dugout down a run. The 3-1 lead is lost. Bogart's at second. Ortiz at first. Well, there's the slider.
That's a good way to start. The last thing Hanley Ramirez was looking for.
.99 miles an hour, the fastball. And it's 0-2. The gun here in Boston had it at 100. There's the slider, and down goes Hanley. But the Red Sox do damage, and it's the great at bat by Xander Bogaerts that gets it done. It's 4-3 Red Sox. out of the Marlins' hands. Time now to tweet your strongest fan photo. FL Data Strong Fan is the hashtag. You might see yourself in the upcoming telecast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, Jessica Blaylock. It's Miami in Boston for 2. And the Marlin bullpen, without some defensive support, gives up the lead. Here's Alejandro De Aza in left field. Michael Morse to right field. Over for it is Victorino, and he's there, and he makes the catch. Morse getting his first start since coming off the DL. 0 for 3 tonight. Justin Bour and then Ichiro for the Marlins here in the 8th inning. A misplayed ground ball in the bottom of the 7th is enormous right now here in Boston. Tazawa came in for Wade Miley. He got that last out of the 7th. Of course, in the American League, John Farrell would have been deeper into his pen, but Tazawa can stay in there with the DH. Both starters pitched well, especially Dan Herron, who once again deserves a better fate than this.
Boy, it's just a shame. Came into the game, ERA was 3.45. He lowered that to 3.34.
Well, Boris hit some big home runs this year. He's hit 10 of them. Tazawa knows that, and he buries a changeup.
Yeah, he's got that splitter action. Good take that time by Justin Bour.
Checkers and Marlins Live. Craig Minervini, Preston Wilson in the studio. And that's immediately following Marlins and Red Sox tonight. Bour takes a strike. Count 3-1. Count 3-2 now. And you can see that good spot. Does he get a fastball or does he get the split? Fastball, and a rising fastball at 95 miles an hour.
Yeah, a lot of times a pitcher will change a hitter's sight lines, and going upstairs with that fastball, now he could come back with the split.
Remember my final vote selection for the National League? Johnny Cueto.
Johnny Cueto.
He throws a 2-hit shutout tonight against the Nationals. Thanks for playing. Bour goes down swinging. Another fastball at 94 miles an hour.
Wow, he stayed with the fastball. Yeah, but would that set up Cueto to pitch Sunday? Good heat by Tazawa. It would be his 5th day. There's no off day because the Marlins and Reds have that 4-game series that starts Thursday.
Yeah, the Marlins will see him firsthand on that Sunday if everything holds. Ichiro now. Well, Ichiro 0 for his last 27. He has struck out twice.
That's the part that really starts to get troubling watching Ichiro, are the strikeouts, because you usually see him put the ball in play. A little bit of history with Tazawa.
ball and a strike. Cueto tonight, 2 hits, 11 strikeouts, 1 walk, and he beat Max Scherzer, who gave up 5 runs in 4 2/3 innings.
The plot thickens.
Yes, it does, Tommy Hutt. Joey Votto, all-star snub, hit his 15th home run and had a double. Both of those against Scherzer. A 3-hit night for Votto, drove in 3.
I still like Buster Olney's definition, though. Omission is better than a snub. They're not snubbed because they were thought of. These guys were thought of being all-stars. They were just omitted. You and I get snubbed all the time.
Ground ball up the middle. Holt. Junichi Tazawa has retired all 4 that he's faced out of Boston's bullpen. It's 4-3 Red Sox.
Cardinals were able to tie this game 1-1. Christian Yelich, remember that name. He's really figured into a couple of areas, offense and defense. How about this base hit by Cole Gillespie? Gives the Marlins their 2nd run. There's Christian Yelich once again, his 3rd hit of the night. A couple of RBIs, 2 for 2 with runners in scoring position for Yelich. Big play in the game. A bobble on this ball that looked like it would have been a double play. A solid at bat by Xander Bogaerts after fouling off a number of 99-mile-an-hour fastballs. And just like that, a single clears the bases, and the Red Sox took the lead 4-3.
Bogaerts still getting fist bumps for that hit. Miguel Rojas probably still kicking himself off that ground ball. Pablo Sandoval pulls in. The round mound of Pound. That's the lesser known nickname for Sandoval than Kung Fu Panda.
I like that.
Brian Morris trying to work his way back after being on the disabled list. Morris has it. Sandoval is out, and we check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Rich, what an unbelievable season it's been so far for D. Gordon. From his performance at the plate to the way that he has played defense, he's been one of the most consistent players for this team, and he is well deserving of being named an all-star. And for D himself, he said he was very humbled by it. He even sent out the following tweet to thank God, his family, and the millions of people that voted for him. And Rich and Tommy, the fans got it right on this one. D is very deserving. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch him play next week.
You know, Jessica, you also sent out a tweet thanking Marlin fans and Dodger fans. You had a lot of support in Los Angeles for his All-Star candidacy.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Best of luck to D.
Just think if the All-Star voting was like political voting and the candidates could spend as much money as they wanted on their campaigns. You can have debates. Red Sox closer Koji Uehara getting ready in Boston's bullpen.
One of the areas that you certainly wouldn't have thought of this at the beginning of the game. Big Papi, Hanley, and Sandoval 0 for 10 tonight. But the 7, 8, and 9 hitters 5 for 8 for the Red Sox.
And of course 2 hits out of Bogarts in the 3 spot. Morris misses away. Shane Victorino's 1 for 3. The flying Hawaiian doesn't fly around like he used to. He's 34 now. But boys, he had a really nice career, including 2 World Series rings with 2 different teams.
You talk about a player in his prime that brought energy to a ball club. Shane Victorino was that player.
He's the only player I've ever seen in all my years of covering Major League Baseball who's ever been thrown out by the home plate umpire, and he was in center field. Remember that?
That's right.
He was still sore about a call the previous inning, and he was out in center. That one to left. And I think a pitch to a Marlin hitter was called a ball, a similar pitch that he had just been rung up on. And Victorino in center field was throwing his arms up and stomping around, and the home plate umpire threw him out.
Threw him out of the game from center field.
From center field, he threw him out, the home plate umpire. I've never seen that. He pulls that one foul. You know, Victorino has really compiled a nice resume. 4 Gold Gloves. The last one he won was here in Boston in 2013. He came up big in the postseason for the Red Sox. That was his first year in Boston. Twice an All-Star. Fastball in. All that for a guy that was taken in the Rule 5 draft twice by first San Diego. He was originally a Dodger, and then by the Phillies.
8 years with the Phillies. And our crack staff, Rich, helping us out, telling us it was Ed Rapuano who tossed Victorino out. Wes Helms was the hitter. I believe the count was 0-2, and he took that pitch that Victorino from center field thought should have been strike 3.
Next time we see Eddie Rapp.
We see Eddie a lot in spring training.
I have to get the story on that. Pulled foul.
Ed Rapuano, one of the umpire supervisors. We see him around checking on the young umpires a lot in spring training. Jose, Thursday night against the Reds at home. Mark it down.
Victorino strikes out. Morris gets him on a tight slider. 2 outs here in the 8th. You saw Uehara warming up in the pen. Real Muto, Gillespie, Rojas, and then D. Gordon. But you do have some pinch hitting alternatives on the bench. Derek Dietrich is one that comes to mind. Remember, Jeff Baker left the game with a sore oblique.
Well, there's certainly something the ball club's going to have to look into if that looks like it's going to linger. It's it's tough to play with a short bench, and the team will have to make a decision whether to put Bake on the DL or go with a short bench.
Shaw with a comebacker. Here comes Uehara in the 9th. By Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealer. Visit us at FloridaCoastEQ.com. In Boston tonight, the Marlins very briefly had a 3-1 lead, but the Red Sox rallied against Miami's bullpen. A Miguel Rojas error at third was a key play. And the Red Sox a 1-run lead going to the ninth. Their closer, Koji Uehara, takes over.
He's had a good run at Fenway Park as well. This year, 8 for 8 in save opportunities. Doesn't walk many. 32 strikeouts, only 6 walks.
He's on a nice run. 1 for 23 are hitters in his last 7. Picked up the save on Sunday against the Astros. His 19th save of the season. So the Marlins need a run. Uehara needs 3 outs. And we'll see who blinks. Realmuto swings and misses. Off-speed pitch. A double and 3 trips for JT Realmuto. Realmuto 11 doubles to go with his 4 triples and 3 home runs in his first year as an everyday catcher in the big leagues. With the struggles of former Red Sox Jared Saltalamacchia.
Or there's an example of the off speed. If you go back the last 21 games for JT Realmuto, hitting over 300 coming into tonight. So he's been able to put together some nice consistent at bats.
Just tantalizingly slow. With a good sharp break to it.
Yeah, you have the opposite of an Aroldis Chapman coming in to close games, throwing 100 miles an hour.
Great arm action, and the ball just floats to the plate. Trevor Hoffman-like. Then he zips in an 88-mile-an-hour fastball.
A little 88 on the fastball. Get ahead, strike 1.
Gillespie, another solid night. A ball and a strike. It's a foul ball, and the count is 1-2. Well, the Red Sox trying to keep up what they've started over their last 19 games since the 23rd of June. This is a ball club that has gone 12-7. And John Farrell's bunch find themselves as close as they've been in a while. They're 6 back in the division. Last time they were 5 games back was on the 3rd of June, and Gillespie just gets a piece of it.
Well, I think when they look, and you have to feel this way if you're Boston, you look at the teams ahead, and you say, okay, Yankees, Orioles, Rays, Toronto, they all have areas of concern. All those teams have areas where they want to strengthen.
Went with a fastball and struck him out.
And it's not an overpowering fastball, but after the off speed, he goes upstairs and gets it by Gillespie.
Uehara was an all-star last year. He's been in the big league since 2009. And his ERA the last couple of years has been pretty impressive. 2.5 last year, 1.09 in 2013. The Yankees, by the way, are tied with Oakland going to the bottom of the ninth at Yankee Stadium. That's who the Red Sox are chasing at the top of the division. Dietrich takes it in the dirt. Well, now you've got Dietrich, a lefty bat, against Uehara. If he were to reach, then there's D. Gordon, then Christian Yelich. Dietrich pulls it. It's fair, and it's over. And the Red Sox come from behind and beat the Marlins. Another fine start from Dan Herron wasted. And the Red Sox take the first of this 2-game set in Boston. And you can see Miguel Rojas, his head in hand. He had the ball kick out of his glove on what looked like it would be a 5-3 double play. So a tough one to take for the Fish. For the Red Sox, they stay hot. They improve to 40 and 45. Marlins Live is coming up.